Hello and welcome to another episode of Coffee With. I am your host Sainabu Jagne, and with me in the studio is Baba Sise. We've had him before, but this time he's here for something totally different. He is the country director of the Global Youth Parliament. So Baba, tell us more about the Global Youth Parliament and when was you appointed as the country director?
Thank you very much, Sainabu. It's a pleasure being on the Coffee Week again, but this time around on a different mission. Like you said, the Global Youth Parliament is an international youth organization, comprises of almost over 67 countries around the world. And Gambia is one of them, and one of the best among the countries. And since February, I was appointed, February 2020, last February, I was appointed as the country coordinator of Gambia. And then I immediately set up executives and also registered the organization at the AG Chambers as a CSO, community-based organization. And of course, the youth organization, the Global Youth Parliament Gambia chapter, have done some projects so far, and then this time around we are also about to do another one. But basically, Global Youth Parliament is a youth organization that look into entrepreneurships, that look into transparency, good governance, that also look into youth development in general, women's gender. These are areas that we are really working. In fact, our chapter in Australia is doing very well when it comes to gender. And we have a chapter in Nigeria that is also very big, one of the biggest chapter in Africa. They are also doing very well in terms of when it comes to gender. So this time around too, we are also working on women. That's very, very important that we are working on women's when it comes to women's empowerment, development. These are areas that are very, very key when it comes to Global Youth Parliament.
Okay, and it's good that you mentioned women. So is there anything to do with, the women's reproductive system, the maternal rates? And obviously we understand that the Gambia has been facing, so let's say high, it could be high, I'm not sure, the statistics are not always tallied, but then in regards to the maternal mortality deaths. So is there something that you're looking at in regards to projects?
Yeah, perfectly. You've made mention of maternal issues in the Gambia. In fact, you heard about the campaign that a lot of people were on Facebook and then talking about so many things when it comes to maternal issues. We know that we have a healthcare system that is very fragile. We have to say the truth because that is the fact. But what is important is, as Gambian, I always say that, I said, if we work together as Gambian, because it's not the Gambia we want, it's the Gambians we want. Now, if you have a social, groups, they need to know their purpose. They contribute to the socio-economic development of the Gambia. Now, based on their purpose, that's where they will now create ideas, and these ideas will contribute towards national development. Now, when the campaign was going, fantastic. Campaign is beautiful because you raise your voices for people to hear you, especially the lawmakers. But also, we don't only believe in talking. We have what we call actions. And that's why we have a project called the Action Project towards Maternal Care Units in the Gambia. Now, we want to make sure that we create an idea that is like, for example, we've already created the idea, but we've also wrote the proposal, the agenda, the program plannings and everything. And we also know our partners, and then all these things are on the ground as we are speaking right now. But what is the project all about? The project is about creating an action project and also an advocacy. Now, we trying to identify the problem, because normally the first thing you do is to identify what the problem is first. Then when you know the problems, then you can now identify you can now create your solutions towards those problems. Now, that's exactly what we did. Now, we now said, okay, the advocacy is just one of the solutions, but the maternal care unit needs more solutions, not only one.
Of course.
But okay, advocacy is one. We're doing that. They're hearing us. Are they acting? No. How can we make sure that they act? Well, when we went to them, they said, we don't have enough resources. We said, okay, now we're going to create a collaboration whereby we are going to work together to raise more funds and buy more the materials that is required or that is needed for all the units, like the healthcare units. And we are not only targeting the combo areas or the cities or the town. We're targeting mainly the provinces
Okay.
The provinces.
Okay.
Now, the project is very, very important, but of course, as we are going, I'll tell you more about the project. It's very interesting. And I want to thank Nana. Nana, especially their director. He's a gentleman. And when we went to him, he was so happy that we come up with this idea. And they are ready and willing to partner with us.
Okay.
And the Minister of Health, I also want to thank the Minister of Health. I want to thank the government through the Minister of Health for also welcoming the idea to partner with us, so that when we have an MOU, we can do it together. And that's exactly what it means. Yeah.
That's perfect, Baba. And it just seems like you have everything planned and worked out as the country director, and I'm pretty sure you're doing it with your team that are not, leaving you behind and leaving you to do everything by yourself. So we move on. So let's talk about the other initiatives that GYP will look into, because we understand we have a lot of issues in the country when it comes to waste collection, when it comes to running water, clean water, unemployment, the list goes on. But then there's so many efforts being made so that solutions can be found to that. But then tell us, what has GYP thought of anything else outside, apart from the women's mortality, the women's reproductive system project, to do anything else?
Yeah, perfectly. That's a very good question, because GYP, the difference, if you compare GYP with other organizations, let me tell you some of the difference. Our organization, countrywide, we compete. Like I told you that we are 67 countries around the world.
Yeah.
So we compete. The more you do more programs or more contribution towards the society, the more you have more weight towards the international arena.
Yeah.
But that's what makes us active. You can see Uganda was in front in Africa. Uganda was on top. But as we are speaking right now, Gambia is #1 in Africa.
Okay.
You understand? It's only Australia around the world that is ahead of us. But when it comes to programs that we are doing, the introductions that the introductory video, the minister we awarded the gold certificate, which is a very precious award, and also other events that we have done so far, all those things. So it has given us weight so much that even our minister, as we are speaking right now, the Minister of Youth and Sport, is invited to be part of the virtual leadership summit, which happen every year. But I will come to that. I want to go back to your question, which is very important. Now, we have other important projects. Now, of course, there are a lot of youth that are asking these questions. Do we open for application? Yes. In fact, the application is about to be open. But let me come to the other projects that we are doing. So all those youths that are vying or that are trying to wants to join, I just want to inform you, we have a lot of projects coming in line, and we do actions. We do actions. So if you are to join us, you have to be very active, or else your membership could be terminated.
Right.
Yes. So there are a lot of projects. So one of the projects in pipeline is the civic education sensitization, which is a very important project that we are about to do. We want to start at the school levels.
Okay.
The school grounds.
Yeah, that's important.
The students at the ground. We also have another very important project. You talk about waste management. We are coming up with a new idea, and this idea is going to help us a lot. The Balance started it. The Balance, as the CEO. I am the CEO, you remember? And also I'm trying to join the same project called the Environmental Clinic. So the GYP will partner with Balance to also implement that. But there are more activities that is in the pipeline. As we are going, you will hear them, because you will not only hear them, but you will also see them, because that's what we do. We do actions rather than talking.
Okay, perfect. So Baba, tell us about the Global Youth Parliament online summit that happens every year, but obviously this year, because of COVID-19, it's been happening. We have to do it online. So tell us about that.
Yeah, of course, it's supposed to happen in Italy. This is where members countries will go with their executives and their members. They will attend this summit. The summit is supposed to be in Italy by this year, but unfortunately, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we have to change the face-to-face to virtual.
Yeah.
And of course, like you made mention of it, it happens every year. This is the year that they will prize like countries, the best countries, GYP countries, the best member, because there are a lot of awards that are there that they will be giving out. These are global awards.
Okay.
So we also have a very good partnership. We're trying to push up with the United Nations, and they're trying to accept us inside. So probably, if everything goes well, it might happen in the United Nations, in the United States next year.
Okay.
But what is important is, like, for example, why the virtual summit? The virtual summit is a very important thing, the one that we are about to do this year. And there are a lot of ministers attending. I just want to remind you that even the Prime Minister, the KP Oli, Prime Minister of Nepal, will attend the virtual summit. He has already confirmed. The Anurag Tunkar, State Finance Minister of India, will also attend the program. We have other high dignitaries that will all of them will attend this summit, because our summit is not, if you watch it online, you will see that it's a very big summit. It's not a small summit.
Okay.
You know, so, and this year is supposed to be one of the biggest, because this is the year that all the 67 countries, you know, ratified to attend.
Great.
You know, and it could have been one of the biggest, but of course we have to do it online, and it will still be one of the biggest program.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us as well, we know we have a lot of NGOs, CSOs that always pop up in the country that say they're working towards development and they're going to change this, change that. But then sometimes we see actual improvements and we see some accomplish what they want to achieve. But then sometimes we don't see anything from the others. Now tell us what that problem is and what can be done to, you know, be better from all the other CSOs that have come and not done anything to change.
Yeah, one of the problems that CSOs have is you need to understand that you have a purpose. And this purpose that you have, your aims and your objectives, you need to make sure that you focus on those ones.
Yeah.
And not to sideline yourself with other activities or be driven away by politicians. Because once you are taken away by politicians, then you miss your purpose, and then some members might leave the organization, and the organization might not have a tail. So now, the other thing too is organization in the Gambia, they find it difficult to get support. But I want to thank the National Youth Council under the leadership of Alaji. He's doing very well recently. He's trying to call up youth organization, trying to reorganize them, trying to tell them that we can still try to push together to support and all those things. So I want to thank the National Youth Council for that. Okay. Now, also the international PIA, President International Award Scheme, they're also trying to absorb more youth organizations and see. So I also want to take the opportunity to thank them through the government. But the issues we have in the Gambia is these youth groups are energetic. They are ready and willing to do certain things that are voluntary work. You are not paying them. They're not asking for you to pay. Or they ask you to provide them the material. So if they don't have those supports, they lose hopes. Now, when they lose hopes, what happens? The organization dissolve. You see, if organizations cannot do activities, like you form an organization for a purpose and you cannot achieve, you are not doing this objectives, or you're not doing these activities, what happened? The members look dormant, and when they look dormant, what happened? The organization die. But the Global Youth Parliament is different because we are monitored internationally from Nepal, our headquarters. They monitor us every time, and they see what we are doing. So if we are not active, they might cut off, they might remove us from the global platform. But that's why we are also working very hard to be one of the best. I told you, it is important for you to understand that to join this group, you have to be very action-oriented, not only talking. Because if you join here and you're not attending activities, you're not doing much, we have to terminate your service.
Okay. Well, that was very straightforward. You have to terminate your services. But the thing is, like another question coming is that you have a lot of young people that are willing and vying to be in these positions and, you know, take up these responsibilities. But then when it comes to actually executing the responsibility, they back down. Or they decide that, you know, they don't put the effort that they're supposed to put in it. Now, what's that problem? What's the reason for that? Yeah,
the problem, youths, like, for example, like I said, focus is very important. You have to have a mind that drive you. You know, if you allowed yourself to be driven by anything, then you are not accurate. Your clocks are not working accurately. Now, that's why we have to understand that when you are working, you have a calendar, you adjust yourself, you make sure know that the things that you are doing. Now, a youth will just join a group, and then they have an activities, you are assigned to do an activity. Then suddenly, he just changed because something else just popped in, and then he doesn't have a control, so he just have to, you know, move away. Like you are very light that the wind can blow you anyhow. So, but you need to be in control of your activities. You need to be in control of your time. And time is essential. Gambians in general, I have to be very honest with you, we don't respect time. And that I have to say it right in front of everybody's face. We have to respect time. We have to value time. Now, let me tell you the importance of time. Time is money, is value, is very, very important. I know it because then I used to break the rules. But then later on, when I came in, I find out that, wow, time is this money. Time is money. People don't know that. And unless we value time, we adjust ourselves towards time, we will never develop. Development goes with time. That is very important. And youths don't know these things. Most of us, we have problems when it comes to timing. We don't even, you are inviting us to a program, you know, we don't look at the clocks. We always try to say, okay, let's wait until Sab, then we start preparing. You know, you have to look at the clock. And another thing is, we also have to stop baffling or bluffing. You understand that, you know, when you are assigned to something, dignity lies in yourself. You know, when something is assigned to you, go for it. You are the one who signed for it. Go for it. Don't try to say, I know, let me bluff them a little bit. And then we need to stop that. That is not me. Anytime they call me, I appear. Anywhere they call me, I appear. Anywhere, any programs they invite me, I come. You understand? I don't look at myself as big. You know, I'm smaller than anybody. I'm not it. But what I know is, whenever there is work, I'm there. And I will practice to be there. You understand? I will always, always be there.
That's
to
good.
do jobs. Because that's what we are here for.
That's true.
After all, what are we? Humans.
We're only human beings, yeah.
We walk towards the end of our lives. So that's
exactly.
it. Yeah.
Well, that's motivational from you, and I hope people watching will take heed to your words and your actions, and actually follow through and make sure they respect time and you know, actually do the work when they say they will. So last question is, Baba, my favorite, where you know, when you give your words of wisdom to young people out there, young leaders that are, you know, aspiring leaders, and, you know, young architects, young entrepreneurs, young painters, young, you know, anyone that's young out there that's doing something and that's grooming themselves to get there, what do you have to say to them?
Force belief. You know, when you have a belief, it's a motivation, it's an energy. It's like a car that is standing with no fuel, no gas well or whatever. Then understand that you just put that fuel. That is the belief. You believe in yourself. You believe that you have it. You know, if you don't have that, then where can the car move? No. Now, for you to get to your destination, then you have to be strategic.
Yeah.
You have to be very strategic as a young person. You see, there's a talent in you. You might not discover it, but if you don't move, if you move, you will definitely discover it. But if you don't move, you will never discover it. That talent is embedded to everybody. Let me make that very clear, by God. That's why God is great, because he gives everybody equal talent. But those who work hard to discover it are the ones that benefit from it.
True.
Those who lazy, lying down, they understand that when they wake up around 3 o'clock. You see, some of my youths, I'm very sad to say this, they wake up 3 o'clock. They will lie down. Can you imagine? The sun is very hot. You can do so many things and drive a lot of benefit. But you will lie down up to 3, 4, 5, and then you wake up. So all you have to do is to go to some of these people that come from work. Boy, Maima Bena Dalasi, why? They understand that. Maima Bena $2. No, you don't have to that. You are losing your pride as a man. Do you understand that? If you want to gain pride, if you want to gain development, if you want to gain advancement, you want to drive beautiful cars, you want to have good compounds, you want to have a good life, you need to understand. First, you need to believe. If you believe, you need to understand there is a talent that is embedded in you that God has given to everybody. But if you are lazy, you will never get it, because God himself said it. He said, wake up, then I help you. That's what he says. So, but he has already given you a key. So all you need is just to jack that key, and the car is on. That's what you need. But if you lie down, you are lazy, all you do is to brew a tire, you understand that. You don't do any work, and when they ask you, you say, there is no job in this country, the government don't do anything. The government cannot do everything. You can use your brain and manufacture something.
Yeah.
If I said, okay, the government do not create a job for me, I go to a carpenter shop, I say, I want to be a carpenter. Will they reject me?
No.
No. I can be patiently be there, and then they will train me, and I'll become a carpenter, and I'll start making small chairs, and I'll be selling it. Yeah. Is that not income?
It's income.
Everything you do, there is income in it. Everything you do, there is income in it. You have to move. You have to believe and you have to move. If you believe, it will move. Then that is where our problems lies. And let me tell you one thing. I want to make this very clear. Compare us with other countries. Compare us with Rwandan youths. Rwandan youths are very focused. Now, you see them, they're very focused, disciplined. That discipline they have is another fuel. It's like the oil of the engine. Discipline is very important. And when you say discipline, it doesn't mean that yaru rek. No. Discipline is more than that. Respecting the time to go to work is discipline. Respecting the job given to you is discipline. You know, respecting your parents, respecting your society, respecting the street is discipline.
It's true.
That's what discipline. The drivers that are very rough, the taxi drivers, the vans that they use the traffic anyhow, they don't care. That's not discipline. That's why you see sometimes the traffic is congested unnecessarily. You understand why? It's because there is a lack of discipline. So discipline is an oil to the engine that definitely makes the car move smoothly. And that's exactly what I want to leave with the youth.
Okay.
And that's very important. But maybe if you want to allow me to give my last word for the GYP, I just want to say something. GYP is open to all the youths in this country. All the youths. The form is on. We are just by next week, we are going to send the forms online, and you can apply to be a member. You can apply to be a member. So on top of the form, all the information, the details are there. So it is open to all of you, but it's very competitive. It's very, very competitive because we give awards annually, and then for you to get that award, you need to work very hard. You need to put that engine on.
Okay, now we're going to wrap up. Thank you, Baba, for coming to Coffee With once again. And obviously this time, you know, you're the country director of Global Youth Parliament. You know, you're doing tremendously well with you and your team. I'm part of the team, but obviously we're talking about you today. The words of wisdom that he shared were very important. You know, he used the car to explain the human being. So obviously as a car, with no engine with no petrol, the car cannot move. So that's how we are, and that's how we should obviously operate. And then discipline is like a little oil to the, you know, engine, like you said, right? Yeah. So, you know, those are the words of wisdom that Baba had to share with you guys. I hope they were beneficial. You will learn from them, and you can find, you know, something useful to actually pull out from what he said. So I'd like to thank my cameraman, Sidi Sambu, thank you, and I would like to thank the technicians behind closed doors, my director, Uncle Basana Sise, and Alaji Silla for, you know, doing all the technical stuff, and Uncle Musa as well. Thank you very much.
Anyway, I want to thank our president, Diwaka from Nepal,
right,
and also our other country coordinators who are very facilitated, like the Australian. You know, I want to thank the Australian country coordinator. I want to thank her so much. She's a very instrumental person. And also Nigeria, Africa, all of them, all the GYP countries. I want to thank them so much.
Okay.
And the GYP members too. I want to thank you, including yourself.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Everybody.
Thank you, Baba. So that was all we had for you in this edition of Coffee With. Thank you, Betty, for my face beat, and bye-bye.
Back in the day,